Okay, now we're in Genesis 16, and this is an interesting story as well. And we'll start first with Sarai. Why did Sarah give Hagar to Abraham as a wife, despite the Lord's promises to Abraham that he would have a great posterity? Sarah was still unable to have children after many years of marriage. By giving Hagar to Abraham as a plural wife, Sarah hoped to enable Abraham to have children and fulfill the Lord's promises from latter-day revelation. We understand that this was a commandment from God that Abraham and Sarah obeyed. The Book of Mormon teaches that marriage between one man and one woman is God's standing law of marriage. However, God has at times commanded the practice of plural marriage as an exception. One reason God has given the practice of plural marriage is to raise up seed unto him. During the early days of the restored church, the Lord commanded the practice of plural marriage for a time, beginning with the prophet Joseph Smith. This principle was among the most challenging aspects of the restoration for Joseph Smith personally and for other church members. Revelation from the Lord to Wilford Woodruff in 1890 led to the end of practice of plural marriage in the church. So that gives a little bit of background. Now Sarai, Abraham's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. Sorry, just trying to get the top thing off. There we go, sorry. And Sarai said unto Abraham, Behold, now the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my handmaid, that it may be that I may obtain by her children by her. And Abraham hearkened to the voice of Sarai. So it was an understanding that Abraham could have children, and also, in a way, she would have children as well. And so maybe she was seeing Hagar as a surrogate mother rather than Abraham's other wife that would have other children. That's a little bit how I'm getting it. One thing is that when I've read this story in the past, I kind of got the feeling that in the past that Hagar gets pregnant, Sarah is really jealous and kicks her out or gets mad at her. But let's read it. I've read it differently this time, and let's see what it sounds like here. And Abraham's wife took Hagar, her handmaid, the Egyptian, after Abraham had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband to be his wife. So Sarai has a very big part in this. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. Notice that's what Hagar is saying. Now, we're going to see that all three of these people are righteous. In fact, let's look on the right again. Why did Sarai deal harshly with Hagar? When Hagar discovered that she was pregnant, Sarai became displeased in Hagar's eyes. This implies that Hagar showed a lack of respect or even showed contempt toward Sarai. When tensions escalated, Abraham reminded Sarah that she had authority within their household over Hagar, and Sarah could act to resolve the conflict within their family. Sarah then dealt hardly with Hagar, leading to Hagar to flee. Studying the interactions between Abraham and Sarah and Hagar can remind us of the need we have for mercy, grace, and redemption through Jesus Christ, despite their circumstances and imperfections. Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar loved the Lord and were greatly blessed by him. Hagar's decision to return to Abraham and Sarah allowed her to receive her own conventional promise concerning her posterity. So, really, this is about mercy and love and about our relationship with the Savior. So, whatever we see in this, let's remember that. And remember, okay, it says that or her mistress was despised. I kind of think, in a way, if how would I put it? I know that my wife, when she'd go through pregnancy, she'd have so many emotions, and I feel that sometimes this is what's happening, is she's having so many emotions, and she might have just felt a little bit like, maybe one time they were talking and Hagar said something like, well, I'm pregnant and you're not. Could you imagine how that would feel to somebody that had waited that long? And Sarai said unto Abraham, now look how she talks to Abraham. This is what really impressed me. My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid unto thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judged between me and thee. She goes to her husband, explains what happened. She's not holding a grudge or anything. She's trying to make amends and understand what's going on. But Abraham said to Sarai, behold, thy maid is in thy hands. Do to her as pleaseth thee. And when Sarai dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. And that sounds like, yeah, do whatever you want. No, read it a little bit closer. The Hebrew is that which is good in thine eyes. That makes a big difference, to change a little bit and see that it's not as pleases thee. Do what's good in thine eyes. Yes, you deal with it, but you deal with it in a good way as best you can. And maybe she felt like, hey, you're treating me harshly, but remember, I am the one that brought you into this relationship. That is the sort of thing that we're talking about here. And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way, and said, Hagar, Sarah's maid, whence comest thou, and whither wilt thou go? Notice he's asking, well, where did you come from? Where did you go? Not a song, but where are you going to go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress. And Sarai, and the angel of the Lord said unto her, return to thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. So he's letting them know, you know what, that's the best place you can be right now. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that thou shalt not be numbered for multitude. He is given the same blessing. She is given the same blessing as Abraham has. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, behold, thou art with child, and thou shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name Ishmael. Ishmael means, well, basically what it says here, because the Lord hath heard thine affliction. So Ishmael means the Lord has heard thine affliction. Isn't that great to have a name like that? And he will be a wild man. And when you read that, first of all, you think, oh, great, he's going to be like out there, really weird. but it basically means, and as it says here, a wild ass, metaphorical here, from freedom-loving, probably a nomad. So it's going to be freedom-loving. If it says freedom-loving, a lot of us would go, yeah, I like this guy. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. It sounds pretty rough, but maybe it just means that he's going to be traveling. I don't know exactly, but this is a blessing given to her, not a cursing. And she called the name of the Lord, prayed to him basically, and spake unto her, Thou God seest me. I have looked after him that seeth me. Have I also looked after him that seeth me? Sorry. Basically, she's saying, wow, you're answering my prayers. God, you see me. I'm just a servant. I'm nothing, and I've run away. And yet you can see me. Therefore, the well was called Bir Halal Roy. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. So that means the well of him who liveth and seeth me. And Hagar bare Abraham a son, and Abraham called his son, which Hagar bare, Ishmael. And Abraham was 86 years old, 86 years old, when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abram. A long time to wait for a son. And here it came with blessings from the Lord. And we'll learn more next time. And we'll have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow.